going to sleep every 2
Yeah.
to 3 hours. Now
Taking
it's going
naps.
on like 4 or 5 hours. And I'm like, okay, you're still up. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta enjoy that still though, because listen, my son woke up at 5 today and he has not took a nap at all. Like at all. I just can't believe it.
I would have been so stressed. Even like right now, I understand like my son is 6 months, so I'm not even nowhere near the journey of what it is like to have a kid, and my patience hasn't been tested yet. But my patience is always like,
Oh yeah.
I always like want to walk away. Like, how about you just cry and I go watch
Mm-hmm.
this? I
Mm-hmm.
can't help you.
Yes, you definitely, what you mean. That what you're feeling now, I mean, as far as like feeling like, oh my gosh, I just need a second, it gets better, but then at the same time, depending on like your system, when they get older, it's still that same feeling, because literally he just does the craziest stuff, and he's like terrible twos, and he's literally going to be 3 in July, so he's still like terrible twos, terrible threes, doing crazy stuff, and I just be like, oh wow, this is crazy. You're really thinking this is okay?
I feel like I have a really good system, and at times I almost feel like maybe I take it for granted because like me and my
Mm-hmm.
boyfriend, we live together,
Mm-hmm.
we're together
Mm-hmm.
most of the times, and I still be like, I need help. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And it's because I breastfeed, and it's just,
Oh yeah.
and then there are different responsibilities that come with
Mhm.
like being a
Mhm.
mom. I'm not someone who is opposed to gender roles at all. I'm not someone who feels like to a certain extent, I believe in them. Some people go to the extreme, so I'm not
Right.
like a woman shouldn't speak unless spoken to, but
Right. Like no, that's not gonna work here.
I don't mind the
I
idea
definitely agree with that.
like, I don't mind the idea of like having a man leave the house and that kind of like dynamic,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
sometimes I'm like, I have to learn that I can't eat my cake. And how they say it? Eat my cake and
Have your cake and eat it too, girl.
I say have my cake and eat dinner too, but I'm like, I don't think that goes together.
But for real, that's basically the same thing as what the saying is saying, because you can't have everything. And sometimes you really do have everything, but it don't feel like it because,
Yeah, it's like
you know.
I can't, do what I want to do all day, every day, be a mom
Mhm.
and have
Mhm.
someone take care of like finance. Like
Mhm.
I have to learn how to find my middle ground because before
Yeah.
I had kids, I would have 2 jobs, running around doing what I want to do all
But
day.
still doing what you want. Yeah.
Now it's
Like,
like, okay, I'm a mom. I have someone who's dependent on me all day, and now because I'm not able to do, okay, I'm here, I'm recording. Because I'm not able to do what I need to do, I've kind of depended on somebody else, so it kind of put me in a very awkward space.
yeah. Yeah. I think that's the craziest part, because like you just said, like I was very independent before I had a kid. And I mean, I'm still independent now, but the fact that I have a kid, that I have somebody like depending on me, like I'm the mom, like
Mhm.
I'm somebody's mom. That is the pressure that I feel sometimes, because I feel like, you know, I still have to do all these things, because in order for me to be this person that I know I'm meant to be in life, is hard to still balance that with
To make
being a
sure they
mom.
become the person they're supposed to be.
Yes, because he's still my priority. But then it's like, with him being my priority, I still need the hours and the time to put towards working, because at the same time, if I don't work, we not gonna eat. So
And it's just
just balancing that.
I don't
Oh,
think I
it's
valued what parenting was before, and I never
mhm.
like I always think
Mhm.
like, oh, I respect people who parent by themselves. Now
Mhm.
that I'm a mom, I really respect that. I don't know how single moms, dad, whoever eats, sleep.
Man.
I have a spouse with me, and I can't get in the shower how I want
Yeah.
to when I want to.
Mhm.
Sometimes I be wanting to take a bath,
Yeah.
or something, and I can't do that. So it's just like I don't
Soon
know
as
how
you try.
kids are okay, especially during a quarantine where you can't get away. It's like you
Yeah.
don't want people coming in and out to help you. So it's like, but I have been recording.
Mhm.
So after we record, I'll just go in and we could add our intros on it later.
Oh,
But
okay.
the conversation, it strikes me because I went in and read more of your book, and what chapter I appreciated most was the one about patience, because I felt like that's what I need right now.
That's my favorite too.
I'm so like, and that's something I always struggle with before a kid, after a kid, is just patience. Even when it goes to like, you know, being a creative and things I want to create and things I want to do, I don't have patience. I'll start something, and if the results aren't what I expected or know it could be, I kind of don't have the patience to stick it out and make it happen. Now it's like when my son is crying, I know he's fed, I know his diaper's changed, I know he doesn't have a fever. Sometimes I don't got the patience to
No, that's natural. And as a mom, you're still a human. Like for me, I don't like when people say like, oh, you're a mom, you should never say, oh, you want to get away and have space from your child. And it's like, why not? Why would I not have a clear mind? Why would I not want to, you know, take a second and digress from everything, from all the pressure I just felt, so that I can come back better for my kid? You know, why would I not want to do that? What makes that bad? That's what I don't understand.
And it's just like, if I'm not okay, my son's not okay. Because if I'm exhausted and tired and I haven't got a moment to myself, that means if I'm on the 4th day of just having a 6-month-old teething baby, I might not want to grease his scalp this morning. I might not want to, you know, because it's like, let me just make sure he's eating. And it's just like, I don't ever want to be in that space to where he's missing out on things he needs because I'm exhausted or I'm stretched.
You know, you're not at your best. And I feel like as moms, we should be taking time out for self-care, and we should be able to, you know, communicate with for the people that do have that support system, definitely try to communicate with the people around you to try to, you know, get that space and that time for yourself, because that's what helps you build your patience too. Like, of course, being in situations where your patience is being tested, that's going to help you build the more that you're thinking consciously about it. Like, okay, my patience is being tested. What can I do differently, you know, to help myself maneuver this situation better, so that I'm not having so little patience. But when it's times where, you know, your patience is being tested and you can't really do anything about it, and you don't know what to do, like, you are going to have that time to just like, okay, I need to step away. And if you don't ever have that time, you're going to go crazy at some point. And that's why there's situations where, you know, moms are like going crazy and like hurting their kids. And I'm not trying to justify that at all, because but
I'm
at
not
the same
trying to
time,
justify it, but in so many words, I can understand how someone can
get to that point.
If you, before having a child, you're not mentally stable. After your child, you go into postpartum depression. You don't have any support, and it's a lot that happens. Like, your body changes, your hormone changes. If you're alone and you have a baby, especially if it's your first baby, you don't know what's going on, and it's so much stuff that happens. I can see how someone can lose their stuff. And like I can't see for myself, but I'm not in those shoes, you know. For the most part, I feel like I'm stable enough mentally, you know. I have support to where I'm not completely losing my mind, but there's times where I like just throw a shoe, like not at my son,
no, I know what you mean. Like, you have to let it out. Like,
okay, you are doing a lot right now, so I can see how if someone is completely far off, like, you know, without no support, no help, losing your mind, I can see how it happens. And before, I can see how, like, you know, moments of rage happen, but not like what's the woman who, like,
not continuously.
Casey Anthony, like that kind of stuff. I don't understand that. I don't get it. Like, okay, your daughter was missing, you threw a party like that. Okay, I don't get it. But
like, you clearly did something premeditated and out of hate.
Or something accidentally and just didn't care. That's but you know.
I definitely agree with that. I definitely think that patience is key to a lot of things, and a lot of people, I think a couple people have came to me and told me that patience was their favorite chapter as well, just because, like, we all struggle with that. I think patience is just it's so hard to explain, because the only way to know if you're getting better at controlling how you act with your patients, you have to be tested.
And I was gonna say, having patience and knowing you have patience is a part of becoming, very self-aware and conscious of yourself and how you react to things. I'm self-aware, but I'm not aware. I feel like I'm not self-proactive. Like, I know where I lack. I know where I could be better. I know even in some areas where I may be toxic, and I know the things that I need to do to be, a better partner, a better mom, a better granddaughter, and things like that. But I don't always take the steps I need to because I'm comfortable,
where you are. Right.
Because once you start reflecting, you start realizing, like, damn, maybe when I do that, that is fucked up. Or maybe when
I could have
say that is not right. And you don't even want to think about it. Or sometimes I might get attitude now. I don't want to think about it at all. Now I'm walking around with attitude because I feel bad about myself.
Exactly. And that's what patience does. It's crazy hearing you explain that. Like, those are things that I really struggled with. I am so short-tempered. I know that about myself. Like, I'm short-tempered, but I'm so calm. Like, my temper doesn't come for no reason. It's when my patience is being tested in ways that come from, like, disrespect. If I feel disrespected, I'm instantly wanting to react. But lately, over the course of, like, the last couple of years, I've really had to, like, sit myself down with that. Just looking back on situations, like, I'm not a fighter, but I caught myself being in fights or arguing, meeting up to go fight and doing stuff like that. And that's just not me. And I had to really, like, sit back and reflect on that. Like, okay, I know better. Like, there's been so many situations where I've been in, I know I could beat this person up, but I don't want to. Like, I've been able to hold my own as far as, like, having patience and not getting myself to that point. But then I've been in other situations where I just let go. And I look back on the times where I walked away, and no matter how many times I was called scary and all these other names, I feel much better about the times that I walked away than the times that I actually stayed there to fight, even if I did win, because that's not my character. And I know that's not how I wouldn't want my child or whatever. Like, I understand fighting for yourself, but for no reason, that's
are very shallow, minuscule reasons. Like, it's not worth it. For myself, I'm not a fighter, and I haven't even gotten very many, like, altercations with, like, other girls or something. But the fights I do get into are more like in my relationship or with my close friends. I'm very emotional, and I'm a talker. I do a podcast. I like to talk. So sometimes I'm talking to get my point across instead of talking to hear you. And that's many arguments, whether it's my friends or with whoever else, because I'm just trying to get my point across, and now I'm getting mad because you're not understanding me. It's a big circle of it's just like, if you just take a second and listen. And I'm very bad about knowing when is the time to talk. Sometimes I want to talk right then and there.
That's so important.
And it's just like, so many situations could be different if I give someone the space they're asking for, or if I just stop picking or stop trying
trying to fix it.
Literally. Or trying to find an answer, or trying to explain myself, or it's just like, learn to let some things go, not
simmer for a while. Let it be for a second, because like you said, if those things that you could just, like, set it down for a second and pick it back up later, it would go totally different than forcing it to happen at that moment. What sign are you? Like, what's your sign?
I am a Capricorn, and I sound very Capricorn-ish. And I am saying.
For a second, you kind of sounded like a Pisces, so I had to double check.
I'm very close with Pisces.
Okay, I'm a Pisces.
My best female friend is a Pisces, and then my spouse is a Cancer. So
water signs.
So both of my, like, very like, predominant relationships are very emotional, because Pisces are very emotional. Cancers are very emotional. So, like, there's
I already know it's a lot with us. I couldn't even.
What's your sign?
I'm a Pisces.
I like Pisces. What month Pisces are you? Because it makes a difference.
March.
Okay. March. Okay. So
Is your
my
best
best friend's
friend?
birthday is her birthday is March 12th. She's very
Oh, okay.
she's fun. I like Pisces. Pisces, that's one thing I can say about Pisces. They're fun. They're good people to have around too, and they're genuine. They
Yes,
are really
yes.
so.
Very, very. And sometimes I do feel like crazy for being how I am at moments, because sometimes it comes off as like I'm not being real or something, or if it's like fake, or I don't even know how to describe it. It just comes off as like inorganic, but it's very genuine. Like, I just try to be my regular self with people. I don't try to, maneuver a certain way. But sometimes if you don't know people or they don't know you, you being genuine can come off as like, okay, she's weird. And so
And
me
I was
just
gonna
being
say that, and maybe I'm misunderstanding you, but that's something I experience too, because I'm a people person and I'm
mm-hmm,
always myself, but different people bring out different sides,
different,
different
mm-hmm,
settings bring out different experiences,
different.
reactions.
Yep.
So I've always been able to, kind of just blend into the crowd I'm with, not
Mm-hmm.
acting outside of myself. Because if I seen
Mm-hmm.
someone else, I knew I would still be me, but
Right.
kind of adapt into my settings. And so sometimes people may be like, I would have to be being fake if I'm able to get along and talk to someone. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
not. I just,
But you just have that open personality where you're able to you're comfortable with yourself. Like, you're aware, like you said earlier, you said you weren't too self-aware, but you sound very self-aware to me, that you can point out your flaws to yourself. But in being able to do that and still be comfortable within your skin, that's hard for a lot of people. So
when
I
I say
think that's kind of
self-aware, is I know what's wrong with me, but
uh-huh
I'm not like proactive enough to be like,
oh
well, let me work on that. Maybe today I should journal instead of
mm-hmm,
confronting somebody with how I feel.
mm-hmm,
Maybe I should think
mm-hmm.
about what I'm going to say before I just
Before I
blurt it out.
definitely
How has
definitely
quarantine been treating you? What have you been doing during all this free time we have?
Oh man. Okay, so I was actually talking with my brother about this earlier. I don't want to sound bad at all, but quarantine has, like, I needed this. I like, God bless everybody who's going through anything that has to do with this COVID. I feel horrible about it. I think this is like something so scary. We've never really seen this before, but also my faith is so strong in God that, I have been able to be productive and just focus on how I want to come out of this, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to come out of this the same.
I feel like it took personally, it took me a minute to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So my son's 6 months. I
Mm-hmm.
was working maybe from when he was 3 months to almost like 4 months, and it wasn't working out because I was trying to breastfeed. My hours was
Mm-hmm.
getting cut. It was just a lot to do with the newborn baby. So I was already staying home, feeling kind of quarantined because I have a
Mm-hmm.
baby. I don't go anywhere. I feel fat and ugly, so I'm in the house
Yes.
all the time. So
Yes.
when this pandemic hit, it didn't really hit my household right away for me to realize, like, dang, this is a real, like we were going to the grocery store, of course, and doing all this stuff, but I kind of just felt like just in the motion. And I would say within the last couple of weeks, really hit me like, this is valuable time that I may not get back. I'm not going to be a
Mm-hmm.
stay-at-home mom forever, and I'm
Right.
not going to always have the time to where there is nowhere to. I mean, there's places to work
Right.
right now, but I'm not trying to be essential, honestly.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's how I was feeling too. And I'm just like, for me, I was already kind of home, like you said. Like, I was already home. I quit my job December of 2018. So I went this whole entire year 2019 with no job, just doing hair. I learned lash extensions, started doing that. But all of that is just like hobby stuff, has never been like foundational stuff for me. I've been doing hair since I was like 10. So that was just something I've been doing throughout high school. Like, that's how I made my money. I would just hustle off that. And I haven't needed for nothing. My son hasn't needed for nothing. And I was making my money. But then it's like, that was taking up so much of my time that when this quarantine happened, I was like, dang, the first week I'm like, okay, I'm ready for stuff to go back to normal. Then I was looking around and I'm like, I have time to just sit and write. My son sometimes will take a nap. I can use that time. If his dad comes, you know, I try to run off and go outside and just sit and write and use my time wisely. And that's just, you know, what I've been doing. And, you know, starting my businesses and really like taking all the stuff that I've journaled about and just bringing it to life. So quarantine has been good to me. Like, I only expect things to get better.
I feel
Like, I'm
like
speaking
this
that to
moment
existence.
is everyone I know who is like-minded to myself in some ways, and
Mm-hmm.
like-minded, I would just say a creative, any person who has the
Mm-hmm.
mindset of I don't want to work for myself. I want to have my own business. I want to be a writer. I want to have a podcast. I want to be a rapper. Right now, they all feel like this time has been allotted to them to like, you know, make something for
Get
themselves.
things done.
So I'm like, right
Mm-hmm.
now, I have been trying to apply to jobs and go back to that route and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
but it just doesn't even feel natural. It's like this isn't
Mm-hmm.
what I want to do, you know, like it just feels like,
Yeah.
no, this isn't the time. So I feel like I just need to go after this and really try.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I tell everyone around me. And it's like, what else would this time be for? If you do music, hold on.
Right.
It's like if you do music or anything like that, it's like right now is the time someone's going to listen to it. If you want to do a podcast right
Definitely.
now, someone has 30 minutes, 20 minutes to listen to other
Yeah.
people have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know,
Literally.
have 15 minutes to watch your YouTube prank. It's so much stuff you can do right now that I feel like if you don't do anything with this time, I don't know what you are going to do. You know, like
Right.
if you
Exactly.
can't make
Then you
something
just
out of
want to work.
having 100% 24 hours for yourself, what are you gonna make something out
Mm-hmm.
of?
Exactly. Then that means you just want to work for somebody else, which is fine too. You know, if that's what your
You know, you need
MO
people like
is.
that. You definitely
Mm-hmm.
do. You need
Yeah, and
people
that's true.
who want to be a part of the team and not lead the team for sure.
Exactly. You definitely do. That's fact. So, you know, and that's fine. But I do feel like if you are considering yourself a creative and you want to be an entrepreneur, if you believe that that's what you are meant to do, then now is definitely time to put towards working towards what you need to have as a foundation. If anything, if it's just writing a couple ideas down per day and doing little things that are going to eventually help you in the long run, I think that that's necessary. I mean, I can't expect that people want to use this time to work. Some people just don't, you know, maneuver like that. Because I was actually seeing tweets about people saying like, oh, just because y'all want to just because y'all don't want to work doesn't mean that the rest of us don't, and blah 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 blah. And it's like, I understand, or
I
just
understand
because
you
y'all
wanting to pay your bills and stuff like that, but
mm-hmm.
wanting to work is a very strong phrase. Who wants
Very
to work?
exactly. I
No,
thought
I
we
don't.
all I thought we all
It,
just wanted money to
and
show up in our
honestly, these
account.
unemployment benefits and stimulus
Mm-hmm.
checks, people who are doing like this unemployment stuff, I know people are making like almost $4,000 on
Yeah.
unemployment, that extra $600, plus
And
they
that's
got their stimulus,
crazy.
plus they got their kids, so that's $1,700 up front. Like,
Man,
and especially if you're a creative, you could take you. There goes
you
your
could
whole
take
at-home studio.
man.
There goes that MacBook you need. There
When
goes
I tell you I haven't touched my
startup
own
money.
money, I've been investing in my craft, and I promise you I didn't touch none of my own money. Because why should I? Let me save that for another rainy day just in case, because we don't know what's happening. But I'm gonna take y'all money and I'm gonna use that to invest in myself and get my stuff off the ground. Because if that's what I'm saying I want to do, if I'm saying I want to work for myself, like you said, if I'm saying I want to be a musician, I want to be an artist, let me get this stuff for my studio. Like, you go on Amazon and they be having packages and all this stuff. I just feel like there's an avenue for everybody, but you have to just be willing to put your foot out there and start going towards it. That's just the bottom line. That's how I feel.
And for me, when I got my stimulus check, you know, I was lucky enough to be in a situation to where that when I got stimulated, I didn't need to, you know, stimulate my fridge and stimulate
Exactly.
my fridge. You know, I was able to
Exactly.
do something for myself. So I went ahead and bought a camera. I bought a ring light, you
Mm-hmm.
know. I
Mm-hmm.
bought some makeup too. And that was kind of, you know, I guess for me, trying to be cute.
But
But
still
makeup is
towards,
hard. I don't know.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's still towards your goal, because if you're trying to be seen, you get in a camera, of course you need makeup because you want to look good on camera. Like, see?
Bad thing to be a bad bitch.
Exactly. It's nothing wrong with that, you know, because bad bitches are winning and boss bad bitches are winning. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
It took me a long time to kind of get in a proactive move. Honestly, one
Mm-hmm.
thing that I think I should be ashamed of is the amount of weed I have been smoking during this quarantine. And I see it increasing as they increase the amount of time we have to stay in the house. I feel like I'm
Mm-hmm.
smoking a little bit more weed, maybe a fatter.
Than regular.
But
I
I have stopped. I started realizing, like, okay, you're doing a lot, and I've noticed the difference. Like,
mm-hmm.
I was able to, like, okay, make some graphics for a podcast, set up a
Mm-hmm.
couple people to talk to, and actually
Mm-hmm.
get on the phone and do it versus smoking, taking me a little kush nap, having me
Right.
a snack, watching
Eating.
me a little show, laughing
Exactly.
about what I'm gonna do, and then get
Mm-hmm.
frustrated, like, oh, that sounds like a
Oh,
lot.
it's taking too long. It's not happening. You
You
lose your enthusiasm
I
into it.
made a
So,
status on Facebook, and I was
mm-hmm.
just inquiring because I'm in a relationship with someone who does not smoke weed. He may smoke weed
Oh,
here,
really?
he may smoke weed there, but he doesn't smoke weed. So from
Mm-hmm.
his aspect of me smoking, it's just like, what are you doing? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you just sitting around smoking, looking dumb, smacking on the bed. Just like, dang. But people who don't smoke weed really feel like that.
Really say that, yeah.
Especially the people who smoke as much as I smoke. I'm kind of the person who smokes before they smoke and smoke
Mm-hmm.
again because we about to do something.
Like
So
literally
people
before
really
you do
feel like,
everything.
okay, you have a problem. And most
Mm-hmm.
weed people who smoke weed never associate smoking weed with having
With a
a
problem.
problem. And I started to think, like, dang, do I have a problem?
Man, okay, so funny you even said that. I had that thought earlier today. I was like, I wrote papers, so I had my little joint, and I was on like the last little bit of it. I wrote up all I had left, so I was kind of like, should I even get some more? Like, why do I? It's not fun no more for me. I feel like,
And that's
right,
the thing, like, am I smoking to get high, or am I smoking?
to fulfill some weird need. That's what I asked
Like,
myself.
because, like, okay, I'm 23 now. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I started smoking for real, when I was in like 8th grade. That's
Mm-hmm.
when I remember, like, I feel like I probably smoked a blunt here or there, but that's the first time I really remember, like, getting high,
Trying it.
like,
Mm-hmm.
laughing, trying to buy my own weed. Side note,
Mm-hmm.
I the funniest story, I think, is my first time smoking weed, buying weed with my friends. We did
Oh God.
dumbest shit ever. We were like in 8th grade. I don't remember where we got the weed from, but it's me and my two other friends. So we're in the Selby area. So that little corner store that's not Tabasi, the one that was like right next to Clean Cuts, that little corner store.
Where's that at? In
St. Paul.
St. Paul.
Yeah,
Okay.
like on Selby. And so we went
Mm-hmm.
up in there. And so I'm looking for a 1 because none of us know how to smoke a blunt, like, roll a
Don't
blunt.
know how to roll that. Yeah.
So, I buy what I think is, a weed pipe. We go over to the park, we break down our weed, put it in a pipe, and we're lighting this glass thing. And we're like, why aren't we getting any smoke? It's just burning up our weed. So I'm like, fuck it. And I used to be very flamboyant isn't the word, but like loud and like
Okay.
just say anything, do anything, ask anybody anything, So I'm like, fuck it,
Yeah.
let's go back to the store. So I bring back the pipe with the weed in it, and I ask him, like, why ain't this working? And the store man was like, well, that's a crack pipe, and I'm like, oh.
Oh.
And like he laughed at us, and I almost seen the tears coming out of his face. And
Cause he probably he really was probably wondering like, what are they about to go do with this pipe?
That's exactly what he said. He said, I was wondering what you guys were going to do with that. He said, but none of my business, none of my business. He was like, I do you a favor. I give you a new one, the right one. So we were able to do it, but
Yeah,
that's a
that's
lesson we've
hilarious.
learned. And it makes me wonder, like, because I smoke and I'm not someone who really feels that anything is wrong with smoking weed. So I wonder about, like, for my own child,
Mm-hmm.
how will I maneuver that, because right now, I have a son that's like biologically mine. That's 6 months, but my boyfriend has another son, and I've been in his life for most of his life that I consider my son. He's 4. I smoke, freely around my house. I don't smoke in front of him, but like I'll smoke in the bathroom, or if I am smoking in the living room, I'll let him know like, hey, I'm out here smoking. You need to go into my room. So it's just like if I'm doing it around the house freely and it's okay, I wonder when they become of age, will they start thinking like, oh, maybe I want
They
to
can.
smoke? And then what is my reaction then? Because I can't, I can tell them, you better not do that shit, but I'm gonna go roll
But
up.
you tell them don't do it, they just not gonna do it there. They gonna,
So it's like, and then it's just like that situation for me could have been completely different, like it's innocent now and funny, like, oh, I accidentally bought a crack pipe, but for all I know, I could have bought a crack pipe. So like, oh, that's not what you put in it. You put this in it, and me, like it could have went so many different directions, So how should I smoke weed as a mom? That's one thing like I never thought I would feel guilty about. But it's not guilt from other people. It's just like the image I may portray to my child, and I breastfeed. So sometimes when people, like someone may know I smoke and then they'll see me breastfeed and be like, oh, you do that?
Did you do research on like, does it?
Yeah. So how I made my decision, and I don't be telling anyone, like when I was pregnant, I talked to people and I didn't smoke while I was pregnant. I honestly, I tried once or twice, but it just wasn't for me. I didn't feel right. I didn't feel comfortable. So I didn't do it, but a lot of other people told me like, "Oh, I smoked; it was fine." Or people who I know some babies are smarter than I'm like, okay,
all right.
It's not for me. But I had a water birth, so instead of going to like a big hospital or having like a big clinic as my primary care, I had midwives and doulas and things like that. And when asking about breastfeeding, my lactation nurse told me that even for moms who, she didn't specifically say weed to me. So she said for moms who smoke cigarettes, doctors still encourage them to breastfeed their baby because it's still better than formula. So I applied that to my everyday living and how I think. I personally feel as if a person who smokes weed is still healthier than someone who recreationally smokes tobacco, cigarettes.
Right.
You're smoking more a day than a person who smokes weed 9 to 10. You're smoking straight tobacco, so that's more toxins, And I smoke, but I don't smoke like 6 blunts a day. I'm not just blowing back all day,
Right,
So,
exactly.
and only like 2% of what you like do throughout the day is actually in your milk. So I feel comfortable doing it from that aspect. And with other things, like if I had depression, they would prescribe me Xanax and tell me it's okay to breastfeed. I got my wisdom tooth pulled. They gave me not Percocet. I actually called some kind of painkiller that they gave me and told me that it was. I told them I breastfeed, but I do need something for my mouth. He said, "Oh, you could take this and still feed your baby," but I chose not to. I was just like, that's I don't even take Tylenol, so I'm just
but
I don't want to do
and
that.
Those are so strong, so.
Yeah, so I'm just like, if they feel like I could do that, or even if when you go to the hospital and you have your baby, they give you an epidural and make you numb from the waist, that can't not have any side effects, so
exactly.
Just a little weed is not the worst.
Definitely, I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. I don't think I started back smoking until he was like 2 months. Whenever I went back to work. So like probably, like the 6 weeks or whatever it is. And, I didn't breastfeed at that time. He stopped breastfeeding, but I did have milk saved up. He never latched on. So I kind of never really got to, do that part of it. And then it just, it didn't matter to me that much. I just didn't want to like smell like it by him or nothing like that.
Yeah, but there's stuff I do. Like, one thing is like I have to wash my hands a lot because like when we're and stuff, and that's the only thing where I feel like it hinders. It's like I feel like I'm not able to like be in his mouth. Not that I want to be in his mouth all day, but sometimes you want to feel his gum, so it's like
checking stuff.
more cautious about like, let me wash my hands first because I might have just been doing something. But other than that, so
I just don't think that it's a big deal. I think overall weed is just like a hard situation to talk about because it's illegal, but it's less harmful than things that are legal, like alcohol
it's
as well.
becoming legal in other places. So
exactly.
It's like we think one way about it, and then by the time my kids are in high school, it may be the same as a cigarette.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I don't think it's a horrible thing. As long as you're being smart and cautious about how you do stuff, it's cool. Like, I don't know. I don't, and I could be biased,
That's one thing I can say too. Like, I could be biased because I smoke, but I do not come from a family of smokers. So
same.
My mom didn't smoke. She passed. My grandma, she would smoke tobacco, but my dad doesn't smoke. Like, so I didn't grow up with like all my cousins smoking. I'm kind of like
me neither.
In that sense, I'm the one who got to roll up before dinner and stuff. So.
Literally, I'm the one. Literally,
the only one. Like, okay,
I agree.
If y'all want to come join, if not,
right. Really, that's pretty much it. So, I mean, it could come from a biased standpoint in other people's eyes because we're already in it. But at the end of the day, like you say, like, I don't come from a family that even, like, I come from an African family who is very godly.
I was going to say, is it very, not religious isn't the word, but traditional. That's the word I'm looking for.
So. At one point, but my mom has been here over 30 years. So she was kind of already here. I'm 27, so she was already here for a while.
Would you consider yourself first generation, like never?
I would.
The United States, or would you consider your mom because she was here for a few decades?
I would say I still consider myself first generation because although she was here, I think she came here, she was like in her 20s. So she was kind of like already in her adult life too. So maybe she is considered first generation, but I would consider me first generation just in the sense of
because you were born here in 20. You kind of are who you are. You change throughout time, of course.
Exactly. But she was definitely more established and whatnot. Like, she was way in her older 20s. I don't know the exact age right now, but I know she was like 20 something, old enough when she did come here, and she came here for like school and stuff like that. So I know she was like college age something. But as far as being traditional, I would say yes and no. Like, the values are there, the morals are there, but as far as like tradition in a sense of the word, because the thing when you say tradition, it's like, do we necessarily go back to our roots? No, I would say we are kind of Americanized. Like, as you can hear how I talk, this is how I talk regularly to my mom, to my sister, and everything like that. But if we want to, we'll talk in our accent. It's not a problem to switch to that. But, traditional, yes and no. Like, we still cook the food. She'll still cook greens, cassava leaf, whatever. But we still, like, will have spaghetti. And we'll have like burgers and stuff like that too. So it's like a nice balance. My son is mixed. His dad is black and white. So, he has a lot to take on. So I do still try to try to be more traditional around him, try to talk a little bit, with my accent so he can like keep that with him too.
That is very hard. Well, so for me, I'm just, American, Black, and then my grandmother is white. I guess I would consider myself mixed in the sense, but I am majority Black because my mom was mixed and then my dad is Black. But my spouse is mixed too. So it's kind of hard to like kind of explain to my son like, well, no, not really, because there's not really much he's just around like more Black people than he is white, but still understand that you're mixed and this is all kind of like who you are and balancing out. And one thing that I wonder, like, will my son ever like, will it ever matter, is like we're two completely different shades. Like he's like high yellow. It doesn't matter to me, and it didn't matter to me with my own mom, I guess. But I just wonder at things like that, you know, like what
I think that too.
In the world be, you know, like I don't know, it's different.
I think our interaction, me and my son, is going to be very interesting. I'm so tiny. My son is over half of my height right now, and he's only 2. He's going to be 3. So he's going to be a giant, right? Plus also he is super light skinned. Obviously he's mixed, and I'm black. I'm dark skinned. So I just feel like, you know, even people when they see me, sometimes they do ask, like, of course, if you look at him, you can kind of see me, but you have to like try to find my face.
You know, are a lot of times I never get like offensive questions by Black people. It's mostly white people. Or when I was pregnant, there was this older white woman who I worked with, and she had like this fascination with me because I was having what she considered like to be a mixed baby, and she had a mixed baby. It was just so weird. And like, like fixation on mixed babies.
On mixed kid, yeah.
People compliment my son, like, oh, he is so handsome. He has that good hair. Like,
yeah,
such a cute little light skinned baby. Like, why can't my son just be handsome outside the fact that he's yellow? Why can't he be handsome outside the fact that his hair, you know, is easy to comb through? You know, like none of that stuff matters, but to so many other people, like they fixate on it or point it out. And I'm
pointed out, exactly. I don't like that either. I personally don't. And my son, like, the thing is, a lot of people would look at him and say, oh yeah, he has good hair. No, he has my hair, and it's good hair, but
you know, it's my hair. You're calling it quote unquote good hair because of his complexion. On the same,
he has the same hair as mine
on this black ass body over here,
man. But you see that his hair is a little more brown than mine. So it's
we'll take the compliment. Thank you.
Right? Like, please don't say no weird stuff to us because we don't.
Yesterday when we were talking, we brung up the TV show Black as Fuck, and you asked me, did I like it? And I was holding back on my answer. It was because of that mix. So I watched Blackish, I watched Mixedish, I watched Grownish, and although these are all like the Black experience, it's the mixed Black experience, which isn't everybody's experience, you know? Like some of the things, and it's the rich mixed experience. The things that like they're going through is not a true reflection of Black as Fuck. I didn't see how much sugar in your Kool-Aid. I didn't see a bowl stained with hot sauce in your refrigerator, but I know it's clean because you just washed the dishes. You know, like, I didn't see real Black stuff. I seen, you know, very privileged mixed stuff, which is fine, which is 100% a part of, you know, being Black. I'm you know, that's fine, but I just feel like he reiterates the same version of it,
of Black.
We see the Black man, we see the mixed mom, we see the mixed kids, we see the privileged kids who don't know anything about being in the ghetto. Like we see that
you're right
over and over and over. I want to see something a little more organic, and it doesn't have to be I'm from the gutter. I don't need to see that because I'm kind of tired of seeing that. But like the Cosbys, we knew they were worthy, but unless mentioned it in so many ways, you didn't know. You know, they still real life. They still, like, you know, their dad was a doctor. They lived in the house that they owned. They had a mom and a dad. They were able to go to college, but at the same time, in every episode, they weren't talking about a gold chain, so Nike's a good.
And,
like
about
I did find it funny
somehow
and interesting, but it wasn't what I was looking for when
as far as representing. I agree. I definitely agree with that. I liked it in the sense of it was a good show. It was funny, but putting it in perspective like that, I totally understand, because as far as representation, representation goes, as far as Black people and how Black people would be treated in those situations, if they were dark skinned or darker, it would be different. I can definitely agree with that.
He tried to touch those conversations, but like it it just still wasn't there. You know, it didn't feel organic enough. And in the show, to me, I probably would have liked the show a lot more if I didn't see him do it 4 other times. You know, because it was literally
That's
what I've
true.
seen on every other show. Basically the same characters, the same storyline, the same setting. And from my understanding of how he came upon this Netflix deal is because with Blackish, he tried to do an episode about Colin Kaepernick, and basically the theme of the show is white people get uncomfortable when you address racism because they know that they have racist tendencies or whatever guilt, you know, is associated with that. And ABC told him that they don't want to show it because it made their white viewers uncomfortable, which is crazy. An episode about racism making white people uncomfortable is like
okay, who would have thought?
He decided, like, you know, that this is going to be the last season of Blackish, and he's taking, you know, his shows to Netflix. So I kind of thought that he would go a little bit harder with what he was going to do. I feel like he just went raunchier. He didn't go blacker, you know. His cast is actually lighter. So
that's very true. That's what I was noticing too. I'm like, oh, you picked a lighter,
but it
wider
mimics
mom.
his family. The cast actually looks a lot like his real family.
His real family. That's what people were saying.
Mad, but it's just like, okay.
It seems that those first 8 episodes, I think that I feel like that was more so something like a what's that word?
Like I feel like it was like a parody. I feel like he
just to see how, I think it was for numbers, to see how it's gonna do. That's what the way I'm looking at it from like an entertainment standpoint, like for the what do they call, like the PR and stuff like that, working with Netflix.
Like, okay, how do we like you here? Okay,
how are they liking this? How fast did they watch it? How many people watched it by this time? And what are they saying on Twitter and doing things like that? I think that's what those first episodes were for. I think we should pick that conversation up after we see some more, because I want to see if he actually does go deeper. You know, if he does try to use because he can. I think that if he did use more real content and twisted it into that show, it would work out because of how he set it up to go. Like you said, it's more raunchier. He just said whatever.
And it could be so raw, and it could be so realistic. And
but he has to do it though.
I would even a thing I would love to see, which I feel like they kind of touch on in Mixedish and on Grownish, is like them being mixed people and people telling them like, oh, you're not black enough, or wealthy people, but not coming from like Bo or the mothers as a mixed person, coming from him being like, you know, a 100% black person, kind of explain, like, you know, kind of being the devil's advocate, because I feel like he only showed the side of people bullying them because they're mixed, or them not being black enough and not being white enough. But how about someone saying it's not that some people don't know how to deal with their trauma or deal with situations that they're being treated unfairly, and so they may have this bias. You know, someone explaining you know, the other side, you know, not always showing, like, it's basically adding to the stigma of the darker they're meaner, you know? So I wish that he would balance that part out. Although
I agree.
It is a big responsibility, and that's one thing I need to learn of, is stop putting so much responsibility on black entertainers or whatever to advocate for me.
I think didn't he have an episode like that where he was saying you know, like the other writers, he was like talking to Issa, he had them all on like a video call, and he was saying something like there was a movie that he didn't think it was like a good movie, and he was saying like, as other black writers or entrepreneurs in the, you know, show business, we should tell each other when we're putting out stuff that's not, you know, good, and instead of just being like, oh, support it because it's a black writer, a black director, a black producer, or whatever, but like actually being upfront. And I think that kind of touches on stuff of us holding each other accountable for things. But then again, like you said, it wasn't deep enough, I think.
Yeah, and I feel like in a time like this, it's hard to kind of go deep. It depends. we're in a time to where you could go all the way off the spectrum and say whatever the fuck you want, but you also can't go too far and say the wrong thing about the wrong person. Everything will be over. So
that's very true.
I can understand how as a creative in that space, like in what I do as podcasting or blogging or sharing my opinion, I don't really have to filter much. I mean, of course, I can't say anything about the LGBTQ or like things like that, which I don't feel any type of way towards.
Yeah,
There's certain jokes or certain broad opinions you can share. Just would
but
be
it's gonna cause some type of.
you should be more thoughtful before you share them. Like I wouldn't just randomly be like, well, yeah, I have this thought too. I probably would have to sit with it before I try to bring it on air on the mic. Like, okay, what will be my response to this? And if I know it's a negative response, because if I feel a way and I know that there may be some kind of backlash, I'll stand on it and I'll double down. But before I do that, I have to make sure I believe in what I'm saying, because I would get in an argument and halfway through it you realize you're wrong. That's the most especially when you're going hard and like you're on 10 and then like just before you about to say your next thing, you like, damn, this
motherfucker. You got me. Like, you got me. You're right. And you definitely don't want to say those two words. You're right.
And the worst thing about me is it's never you got me, I'm right. Now I gotta go even harder because I know I'm
now it's I gotta hang up and come up with something else because you're not finna one up me.
No. One thing that so another show is How to Get Away with Murder, where you're able to catch up on.
Yes, I just watched that.
I do not.
Are you caught up?
Yes, I don't understand how we're gonna get all the answers we need in 2 episodes.
There's no way.
Miss Rhymes needs to stop playing with me.
Honestly.
She really does. I let go of Grey's Anatomy. I let go of Grey's Anatomy because she drug it on for too long. I was like, you should have ended Grey's Anatomy and gave me more of How to Get Away with Murder.
Honestly, why is it being done so fast? Like, I don't feel like it should be over because wasn't Wes back?
Yeah,
wasn't Wes back?
Out of all the shows, I feel like How to Get Away with Murder has the best content.
Yes, I love it.
It hasn't gotten dumb. It is starting to dwindle down. So I'm happy that they're ending it at 6. Yeah. But I just don't want them to fuck it up because I really have enjoyed this show. And
2 episodes, though, you feel like that's enough for everything that we need to know.
So, from my understanding, Frank is Sam's son, which makes Frank's Gabriel brother, which means he almost tried to kill his brother. Which means that he actually did kill his brother when he hit Annalise with his car, and he killed his other brother when he put that girl up in the water tower. And him and his dad have the same mistress because of Bonnie.
Man, that's why that's why Sam was so mad that he was messing with Bonnie.
But did Sam know that that's his son?
I feel like he had to have known because he was working with him. And even when, I think it was after the time I think it was after Annalise got into the car accident, which was Frank, and he called Sam for something. I don't know. It was on this last episode. It was like a flashback. And then Sam was talking to him and he was like so frustrated with him, it just seemed so fatherly. Like he knew that was his son, but never said it because it's like he was holding on to stuff.
And I was going to say, and everyone in that show does have the tendencies to follow people that mean something to them, and you just never know. But that is Frank is an incest baby. He is oh my gosh, so
yes. So. Yes, because I was wondering, who is this nigga's parents? Where did he come from? Why is he so close with them? Like, I'm like, who is Frank actually?
And I kind of just went along with Annalise, helped him or something. Because Annalise, not Sam.
But he was already, he was in the right place at the right time. He was being helped by Annalise because of Sam. That's what I think.
I don't know. And then the stepsister, and then like I've been hating Sam all this time, and now all this
Times.
stuff is coming out, and I still feel like there's a lot more going, because I don't understand what Gabriel mom is there to do. Like that, what are you
She's the
for?
one that sparked the conversation though.
No, I
She's
know she's the one who revealed the information, but I just
yeah.
overall, what
Like,
are
why
you
is she
here
still
for?
here?
Yeah, like what? Leave them alone.
I think something's about to happen. That's why he's supposedly leaving, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
I just feel like there's more going on. I feel like Gabriel is being more sneaky. I feel
Mm-hmm.
was dad, his tea needs to be on the table, because like
Man.
every time he talks, I'm sorry,
No, you're good.
every time he talks, I feel like he's telling Michaela he loves her, da da da, but it's just something so sinister. I feel like behind it. I feel like he has a wild card he's gonna pull out. You know?
Who, Gabriel, you said?
No, Michaela's dad, the lawyer that she
Oh,
just
her
met.
dad.
Yeah, that for
Yes.
some reason wants to look
It's
out for her
something.
so much.
Oh my gosh. And
Like she's 27, almost 30
his
years
relationship
old.
with Annalise, though, that's weird to me. That
And
whole situation with Annalise,
I
like,
feel like he's using her, trying to get her to turn on Annalise, to get
and
back at Annalise, or put Annalise
mm,
down for something that has to do with him, or save his ass for something him and Annalise have going on together.
had exactly. Yep. Because he don't want his tail to be shown. That's what it got to be, because he really came in like, I'm here to save the day. I'm your dad. And it's like, bro, you've been knowing about me for forever and never came and said nothing.
No, and actually, when I confronted you about it, you didn't even really want nothing to do with it.
You ain't have nothing to talk about.
You changed your mind. So,
No.
okay.
Like, no, something's not adding up
And I feel
here.
like Gabriel's lying about who he saw kill Chandler. I don't feel like he saw that. I feel like something else happened, and he just said that. I feel like Gabriel is deeper undercover than what we even know. I feel like
no, he had to. That part I think he did see, because they showed it, and it was, oh girl, because now you see how she's getting caught up. It's the same. Ain't that the same lady? Yeah, that's the same lady that did Bonnie's brakes. So I think he's telling the truth about that, but I think he's in on something, not necessarily with Asher's death, but with like something behind the scenes with the
whole
FBI.
snitch undercover.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like maybe that's why Gabriel was going over Michaela, because Asher couldn't get her to flip how, or something like that. So maybe that's why Asher was going to Gabriel's house, because he was they were in cahoots together. They were snitches
somehow. Yep.
Because every time Asher went to talk to Gabriel about we weren't there for every conversation, so there's plenty of times where they've been alone confronting each other or something that the audience wasn't there
never seen
about. So I wouldn't be surprised if it will be some flashback of some conversation they had 4 months ago that makes sense or something. But I just
not to mention though, not to cut you off, but not to mention, every time Asher went to the house, just because they were neighbors, he didn't have to come home and go to Gabriel's every time though. Every time he went to the house where Michaela, Oliver, and Connor was, he was going right to Gabriel after to go talk to him about something. So I feel like he has something to do with the FBI part. Something to do
like
with
maybe
that.
he's going over there like, oh, I couldn't get them to say anything, or whatever it is.
Yeah, they was in on that together.
Just from the beginning of Gabriel showing up, he was acting weird as fuck, just itching to be a part of the gang. Like, why do you want to be your friend so bad? But
so bad. It was sad. It was kind of
like you look like a sad puppy waiting outside.
Literally thirsty, trying to be friends. Like, bro, we not trying to mess. We know who you are. Like, we're not trying to be cool
like you're making it obvious.
Like, we killed your dad.
At first, I thought Annalise was trying to like be his friend. I thought he was like Annalise's like mistress or something.
Or trying to like get him to like watch over them. See what they're talking about. Make sure they don't do nothing or something, like trying to have him as her ears or something like that.
one thing about Annalise is she stay with the boo. That she does. She got female, she got men, police guard, bodyguards,
I'm
authors.
I'm trying to be like Annalise for real. Like, she does stay with a boo, and she's never without one. You can't catch her without one.
I think my favorite moment for How to Get Away with Murder was seeing Mary J. Blige give her a sew-in.
Oh my God.
I don't think that can be beat.
Nothing can top that.
Because she got on screen with her braids on. I said, okay,
period.
this is a real moment. She
period.
said,
But she never been shy to, pulling that wig off. First season, she was pulling that wig.
She's never shy to pull a wig off or let the snot run. I wonder if she does not have any awards, she needs to be gifted one of each.
No, I'm gonna check.
Viola Davis gets the job done. She does be done every time.
Definitely a good actress. Definitely puts her heart and soul into learning these roles, into being these characters, because every time I see her, I don't think Viola Davis. Like, I try to, but I'm so obsessed with How to Get Away with Murder. Like, I just see Annalise, and she be in other stuff, obviously, but I still, like, she's just Annalise Keating to me. Like, that's just it. Like, she can't be nothing else.
At all. What? So I'm trying to think. Did you watch any of the other shows that Chandra did? Grey's Anatomy or Scandal?
I didn't watch Scandal. I watched maybe a couple episodes, didn't really get into it, and then I didn't get into Grey's Anatomy because, like you said, like, it's so many seasons, and I get intimidated.
I was able to get into Grey's Anatomy is because I was pregnant and I couldn't do anything. So after work, I had a lot of free time and I was able to watch it. But Scandal, it didn't pull me in, but people love it so much.
Yeah, people loved Scandal. Like, I really wanted to get into it, but it's not that I couldn't. I just never. Once you're so late on certain shows,
it just doesn't matter, unless it's like it's super good content. Like, it's like once you're out of the loop, it's past.
It's like Power.
Like, oh, I'm ready for chapter 2. I've watched Power from the beginning to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I watched it like in live time. So from the first premiere to the season finale, I watched it on Sunday, 7:00 when it came out Thursday.
Every time. Look, so I started the first like 3 episodes and I was really feeling it, but I was watching it with my homegirl, and like, I didn't have HBO, so then I fell behind. Then I got it, and then I got Hulu, and Hulu has like the first 2 seasons on there or something, like first 3, and I was like, okay, I'll start watching it. And then like I got to like season 3, and then I was just like so behind. And everybody, like you said, everybody watches it on time that Sunday, and so just imagine for like years I'm just watching people say what happened. So I know what happened, but I didn't watch it. And so it's like,
who watch Power, they get very in depth, and it's
they do.
I feel like it is a definition of a Black soap opera. It is good content, over exaggerated with semi-poor acting and flashy clothes, and so it just keeps you watching. But there's times where it gets dumb, it gets over dramatic. And I wonder if I was to stop for a long portion and come back, would I be like, oh, this show got dumb? I feel like, or if I was to watch it now and binge watch it without the long breaks in between.
Yeah, I think that's what that is.
Show feel, because a lot of shows feel, I even thinking back about How to Get Away with Murder, I feel like if I was to binge watch it through, I feel like maybe after season 3 or 4, I might be like, okay, this is getting dumb. If without the 3-month, almost a year break in between
each season,
that matters. That really matters if you are flowing through a show. And like, if one season someone dies and you can't find out until 6 months later if they're alive or not, and
it keeps you interested.
And it feels different if you wait 6 months to find out they're alive still versus 2 minutes and they're still alive, because now you're pissed off. Like, fuck, they're still alive. Why did you even have me feeling like that?
It's just a Netflix kind of thing. I think just like Netflix created shows are cool like that, and even some other shows are okay to be that way, where you can watch the next episode right away. But I definitely think that with these shows that are like supposed to be cliffhangers at the end of each episode, I think those type of shows have to be like,
Weekly
wait,
or week
yeah,
monthlies. I can't binge watch that. Or you're gonna have to
yeah, because
change
that's what
how you're
I
giving
think
me this
that's why I can't watch
information.
Power. Exactly, I think that's why I can't watch Power, because like
There
like
is
I
so
said, I
many
already know what's going
cliffhangers,
on.
and there's so
Mhm.
many twists and turns that if you're watching it too fast, it just seems too. I mean, it's unbelievable regardless. But if I'm
Yeah.
watching two seasons within 5 weeks or whatever, it'll look
Yeah.
dumb, like this dumbass
It's
show.
like,
So
oh,
I
this
can
is
see how if
dragging.
when people fell off of Tower, them not getting back on it. But as someone
Mhm.
who, there was one point in time where I did want to stop. I don't know if you've ever experienced this. Have any of your real life trauma, have you seen it mirrored in a television or movie where you're like, okay, I can't watch this anymore?
Yeah, I would say that it's happened
So
maybe
for
once or
me,
twice.
it was the episode, and you may not have seen this since you stopped watching, but Tommy
Mhm.
ends up killing one of his spouses, Holly. Did you see
Hmm.
that?
I didn't see that, but I did hear about it on
Okay, so what
Twitter.
Tommy does is he's in a relationship or whatever, da da da. Holly is trying to turn on Ghost or something like that. So Tommy strangles her, and for me, it
Mm.
was very triggering because that's how my mom was murdered and she was strangled. So
Wow.
it was very triggering to like actually see that action happen in that
Mhm.
kind of same kind of
Mm.
circumstances.
Mm.
Like this is your spouse, you did it because you were upset. It wasn't something you particularly meant to do, but
But
so
it happened,
it
yeah.
was very triggering to see that like on screen, especially
Definitely.
where I hadn't process. Like now I can have conversations about
Mm.
what happened, how I felt around it and things like that without crying in the moment or feeling down for
Mhm.
the rest of the day. So at that moment I was just like, I started crying. I was like, I can't do this. It's too much.
Right. Well, first of all, yes, like I'm sorry for that. That's horrible. I definitely feel your pain on, losing a parent. I know that like when it's something that it's not natural causes, it's something that could have been avoided. Like I couldn't even imagine how you could feel during those times. Like you said, of course you're feeling better now. You're being able to, maneuver and find that light in life again. But I couldn't even imagine. I man, I
It's not
couldn't.
so for it's been 5-6 years now since 2015. So 5 years
Oh yeah, yep. Oh
since
wow, 2015.
yeah.
My dad passed in 2015 as well,
Yeah,
September
so
3rd.
yeah, June of 2015. And
Wow.
for me, I went through a stage of like not dealing with that at all and like being
Mhm.
angry at any time where I was drinking or something, a lot of
Mhm.
emotional backlash from that, to where I couldn't have like healthy disagreements or arguments. Everything was
Mhm.
0 to 1,000,
A thousand. Yep.
and
Yep.
there in the lot, it's again a lot of trauma that I had embedded in my brain. If anything almost reflected in real life, it was triggering, so it just made
Mhm.
me blow up. And then I got into a space to where I kind of I can't I won't say that I've 100% have felt through that emotion, but just got into a
Mhm.
space where I could comfortably talk about it and kind of
Mhm.
sat with the emotion more, But
Progress.
I feel like it's layers. It's a very it's it,
Definitely.
and when you lose
Oh
a
yes.
parent, I feel like that's something that I feel like the three major deaths that is a parent, a sibling, and later on with a spouse that you've been with for a long
Mhm.
time. Like those
Mhm.
losses are
It's
things
hard.
are it's hard to deal with, and I don't think they're ever things that you get over. You learn to live with. Is
Mhm.
a much
Mhm.
better way to say
It's
within.
a better, exactly. I definitely agree with that. I totally agree. And I think that there's many, many different layers to the process of going through that grief. You're never going to be like, oh yeah, I'm good. Like, I don't care anymore. You're always going to care. That's your parent. That's somebody that you've had. you
and
know.
you'll always get re-triggered. Like right now,
Mm-hmm.
I have a 6-month-old son. So instead of like, my mom being there when my son was born, it was my grandma,
Mm-hmm.
my sister, my boyfriend's mom came in, but my mom's not there, And so it's like,
Mm-hmm.
when I have a babysitter on the weekend, I'm telling my son, like, okay, let's go with your Gigi, let's go with your great grandma, not let's go with your like it's just different. He does
Mm-hmm.
have a grandma, he has his dad's mom, but it's just like I don't get to witness that experience for my son.
Yeah.
And I know how important a grandma is. Like,
Oh yes. Oh
and so
yes.
it's just like, so I love my granny. My granny does like, even still now as me being a 23-year-old woman, my grandma
Mm-hmm.
does so much for me and helps so much and has always been kind of that support in my life. And it's just like, I would love to see my mom be that person for my child.
Same.
So
Of course.
that was triggering, and that's something where I find myself getting upset about, or just certain things like Mother's Day is coming around, and I've kind of
Mm-hmm.
learned to deal with that. But now it's like it's my first Mother's Day and I'm a mother
With
and
you
I
being
don't
a
have a mother. It's
mm-hmm.
it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot, and it's overwhelming to like think of. And then it's like, how do I explain this to my son when the time comes?
Right.
Or,
Mm-hmm.
or how do I make sure that my mom isn't forgotten? Or like
Mm-hmm.
how do I
How do you
establish
instill her into
a mind or a
yeah.
thought? So
Mm-hmm.
it's a different experience that comes when it comes to parenting around losing a parent.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I feel the same way. Like you said, like I had a boy as well, and I I I took my dad's middle name and spent it. So my dad's middle name is his African middle name is Japoli, but his what he went by was Joseph. But I named my son Josiah. And that was my way of, okay, I'm gonna add my dad's name to his name and make it like, I'm gonna honor my dad, because like you said, it's hard, like me finding out I'm pregnant, and like that's the other person you want. Like, of course I called my mom, but like of course I want to tell my dad, like, this is my dad, this is, I was like a princess. Like my dad spoiled me to the point where it's like I can't be in a relationship if I'm not being spoiled. So now being a parent, like I remember those, like, uh-oh. I unplugged my headphones, my bad. But I remember those moments of, the things that he taught me and the way that he instilled love into my life. Like regardless of him and my mom not being together, he would never miss anything. There was never a day I can remember I didn't see my dad. Or if I call him and be like, oh, can you come over? Oh, can you bring me McDonald's? Oh, can you take me here? Oh, can you do this? Whatever, he'll always be there. Like, so it was always normal to me, having him. And then all of a sudden that was just gone. And then the year later, literally the year later, now I'm having a whole kid of my own. And I was just like, I was just in a crazy place. But I truly believe that his spirit helped me during my pregnancy. I had a very crazy pregnancy, a very crazy one. Like, it's no secret, like me and my baby dad are not together, but we weren't even together when I got pregnant. Like, it was just an on and off relationship that got so like toxic, and that one last time just got us caught in a situation together. And although we do our best to have like a friendship and take care of our kid, it's still hard because it's like certain
Especially when
things.
there's past experiences that add to like feel and things like that.
Definitely, I think that adds a lot of fuel to the fire with us if we get to that point. But like I said, I've been working on my patience. I think all of this, my whole life, like I said in the book, like I think it all happened for a reason. Like I wouldn't be able to maneuver the way that I maneuver now and think the way that I think, because I wouldn't have went through all this, and I would still be thinking that everything could always be peachy and I'll never have nothing wrong happen to me. I used to swear I would never be a baby mama. I swear I would never be nobody's baby mom. Like, what? Like, and now I am. Like, and I have no choice but to be that, because I'm not going to force myself to be in a relationship. But what I was going to say about him was that I tried to like force us to work, because that was the only person that ever met that was my first boyfriend that I let meet my dad. So I was like, it has to work and it has to work out and blah, 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 to the point where we were like, us being together was more detrimental than us even helping or like loving each other. It wasn't that no more. So you know. And when you start feeling those feelings and you have a kid, now I'm laying here with my child, and I'm just like, wow, I'm a whole parent. And, you know, how is his relationship going to be with his dad? Because me and his dad are not together. You know, what is that going to be like? Because not everybody thinks of it how my parents were able to do it. And I always wish that my dad was at least here to like have that conversation with him. You know what I mean? Like to kind of like give him that insight. Like I was always able to be there for Capo, regardless of me and her mom not being together. So I always like wish for that. Like, dang, I wish he could like explain it to him, because I don't want to ever be in a situation where it's like, okay, well, since we're not together, like I'm not gonna do the best that I can or whatever. Like I don't want it to be that. And although it's not that, you know, you just never
don't want
know.
it to never get there. You know, you want to prevent the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Or you think of what the worst can be when you feel like you're not in the best situation. You know,
Exactly. Exactly. And then just things like that. You just, for me as a girl, a girl who loves her dad, like I was always a daddy's girl. So for that to just not be something that I have to run to in my times of despair, now being a mom, and I'm like, you know, at this whole new level of life, and I can't go to this person that's my confidant, like that's really difficult for me. But like you said, you know, you start coping. Like I did little things. Like now I have like a tattoo of his name, and I'll just do things that I feel like will bring me closer to him. Like just little things here and there that just keep that spirit around me, and so that I don't let myself get down when I think of him, because it's easy to go into that mindset like, oh my gosh, my dad is really gone, and you know, you can start crying and doing all these other things. But like you said, it's like at some point you do have to just like, you know, grow through it and get through the tough levels of the grieving process.
grieving is something really hard, and I feel bad for people who are quarantined alone, or you know, because right now I'm sure for a lot of people this is a very sensitive time. So where you could just be getting over a breakup, you could just be getting over a loss, or there's probably many people who are currently losing people to COVID-19. So it's a very delicate time, and so that kind of is what pushed me to make a podcast. So hopefully, you know, the random conversations I have with people who join me in conversations, or random rants I have, are able to, you know, take people's minds off of what is going on. Because
definitely.
this moment is it triggers a lot of anxiety, like insecurities, not maybe in you as a person, but when it comes to financing and what's next for you. So
Yep, I agree with that. Yep, I definitely agree. That's why I just, you know, I'm trying to spend my time doing as much as I can to spread love and light, and just remind people to be nicer to themselves, and remind people that, you know, you're not the only one going through something. So be nice to other people too, because you never know what they're going through either. And it's like, if we all just extended helping hand right now, I get it. Like I'm human, so I know that I'm not just perfect all the time, being nice to people all the time that, you know, I don't necessarily like, or whatever the case. But, you know, I try to be respectful in every sense of the word. Like I don't, you know, I don't go out of my way to try to hurt somebody else. If it happens that we're going back and forth and something happens, like, you know, unfortunately, if we do end up disrespecting each other or hurting each other's feelings, like I'm gonna feel bad about it. But my main goal right now, even in general, I mean, as a person, my personality is just to like spread love and light, because it's so easy to go down that path of you know, these times, and you're being alone with your thoughts, and to start going down this dark hole of all the things that are wrong, why you're not, you know, like you said, people that are breaking up in their relationships, like they're not even, you know, able to like spend time with other people to get through these times. So it's my, for me, I feel like it's my duty to go through my social media, use my social media as a way to make people smile and make people laugh, or, you know, remind people to love themselves and love other people as well.
Mentioning your social media before we get off, could you go ahead and let people know where they can follow you at, and also some of the things that you do and where they can find your book at?
Okay, so my name is Kenee. And my Instagram is Kenee. That's KENEE .Kenee. So Kenee.Kenee. And then my Facebook is Capo Indy, but you can follow my Facebook page, which is the same as my Instagram, which is Kenee. And then my YouTube is the Vitamin K. And that's KKAY. You can find me on there. But right now I am just basically letting everything blossom. I am an author. I have 2 books out right now. One is called Everything is Okay. That's on Apple Books, and it's also available on Amazon as a paperback. My other book is called She's a Hot Mess. It's a poetry book, and that's available on Apple Books only right now. Lastly, I would like to say that I am starting a coaching business. I will be doing life coaching sessions, which I will be helping people, set their goals and meet their goals, and helping people with mindset training, helping you change the way that you think or get you on the path of doing that. And yeah, I got a lot going on. So just follow me and you'll see and you'll see what I have in store.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time out to join me and have this conversation with me.
Of
So
course, of course.
I'll be putting this out later tonight or tomorrow morning,
Okay.
sometime soon. So just be looking forward to joining. But I really appreciate you joining with me.
Of course, of course. I